so we can be free. All the things I said, all the things I said, running through my head, running through my head, running through my head. All the things I said.
What's up, Summoners? Today, patch 6.4 landed, and for the first time on my channel, I'm going to be discussing my thoughts about the patch. The reason why I'm choosing to do this is because I want to expand my reach as a channel. I feel like I focus on lower elo players so much that it kind of inhibits higher elo players from enjoying and benefiting from my channel. So today, we'll talk about the patch notes, which is something that can help everyone. Now, there's tons of patch note reviews videos that release with every patch, so don't expect the cookie cutter patch review. I'm not necessarily giving you an entire run through of the patch. Instead, I'm breaking down the patch notes down to the 4 most important or interesting things that I found while reviewing them. So sit back, relax, and at the end of the video, please leave your thoughts in the comments as well. The first important detail I've noticed from patch 6.4 is the inevitable changes to the top lane meta. Not necessarily the type of champions played, but the amount of champions that will now be extremely strong and top tier. The 3 top lane monsters got nerfed in this patch: Fiora, Gangplank, and Malphite. The nerfs weren't severe enough to take any of them out of the top tier in my opinion, but it definitely brings them down to the same level as some of the middle tier top laners like Irelia, Olaf, Graves, Jax, Wukong, you get the point. Fiora now has longer cooldowns on her riposte and a slight nerf on her blade work cooldown. The base cooldown was actually reduced, but it doesn't go on cooldown until after the second hit of the spell, so I think overall the cooldown was increased. Fiora will be a lot easier to lane against now. Gangplank took the biggest nerf in my opinion, as he lost passive gold on his Q and can no longer obtain more than 3 barrels at a time, which will significantly reduce his late game power. Then we have Malphite. Malphite got significant nerfs to his health regen, which means he'll be easier to poke out of lane, and nerfs to his ease base damage, rightly so. So all in all, I would just expect a larger range of champions in the top lane now. The second important detail was with 2 of the jungle top tier champions, Xin Zhao and Udyr. Udyr was given nerfs on his Turtle Stance's shield amount and a nerf to his Phoenix Stance's on hit damage. Nothing significant, and he'll definitely still be strong, but they also nerfed the movement speed from the Runeglaive jungle item, so we should definitely see a decrease in annoying Udyr players who run around like jackasses all game, stealing every jungle camp and basically just annoying the hell out of everyone on the opposing team. Then we have Xin Zhao, who's received probably a nerf that will drop him out of the top tier junglers and make him pretty uncommon. I mean, I could be wrong here, but they nerfed his healing ratio by a lot, and his late game attack speed will be a lot less OP. I think part of what made Xin Zhao so strong was these 2 things. So probably my favorite nerf of the patch was the one on Xin Zhao. He'll still be a threat, but not an OP one. This means tanking junglers will definitely see a hidden buff, as Udyr and Xin Zhao were pretty good against punishing the tanky junglers with all of their on-hit magic damage. Thirdly, I want to talk about the mastery changes. Warlord's Bloodlust now heals more based on missing health, so I expect to see a lot more duelers and brawlers becoming popular, which I guess actually helps out Xin Zhao and Fiora a bit, which I guess can neutralize their nerfs a little. But the champion that I see benefiting from this the most is Olaf. With the nerfing of the top lane champions and a buff to this keystone, Olaf has the capability of being an absolute monster. Olaf's passive already makes him extremely strong in those close duels as he gains attack speed and lifesteal based on his missing health. And with the addition of this keystone, yeah, he'll be able to make some pretty ridiculous plays. I still don't think Olaf will be god tier, but I do expect to see some more aggressive Olaf play and probably some more damage oriented Olafs. And then, of course, we have the new Mastery Exposed Weakness, which gives aggressive supports a bigger role. Damaging enemies causes allies champions to deal 3% increased damage to that target. So, pretty self-explanatory, more aggro bot lanes. And I could see this also being an indirect nerf to late game oriented ADCs like Vayne or Kog'Maw, but I could be wrong there. Alright, lastly, let's just quickly talk about an interesting change that I noticed. So, Mira mana no longer can be toggled and will now automatically toggle off when your mana reaches 20% or lower. Now, I think this definitely is classified as a buff because you don't have to think about using this item during fights anymore. It'll just automatically do it for you. But if you think about it a little bit more in depth, it's kind of a nerf. When you're on a champion that uses this item, namely Ezreal and Jace, you don't really want to have it toggled on when you're just clearing a wave because it burns through your mana pretty fast. But you don't have a choice now, so clearing waves with these champions now becomes an actual problem for 2 reasons. If you need a team fight after you clear some waves, you'll probably be really low on mana, which means the possibility of going Umina fight. But it also means that you'll be able to utilize the on-hit effects for less amount of time in a fight, because as soon as you hit 20% mana, that turns off. So I think the change is a pretty big inconvenience and will indirectly hurt your wave clear on those champions. So adding that in with the nerf to Ezreal's ult, I think we can wave goodbye to Ezreal ADC being one of the top ADCs. That concludes my overview of patch 6.4. There's of course a lot of other changes I didn't talk about, so if you want to know everything, go check out the full patch notes, which I'll put in the description. And also, definitely expect more patch reviews in the future. And of course, look out for my Spectate Low Elo video coming out tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and again, till next time.
Closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay.